Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrines Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Labert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. And today's show is 5K1 series official launch. Kings reveal truth about hip hop Informant, part one. Now, I must say, this is a very personal thing to me. Some of y'all may question why I've been quiet for a couple days because I've been doing work. When you're doing something, you're doing something. So, let's start this series.
"5K1 Series Official Launch: A King's View of a Nationally Known Federal Informant in Hip Hop Part 1 of 2." Disclaimer: Israel Doctrine Entertainment 5K1 series will not be to slander or to provide false information as it relates to the discussions that we will have over the course of this series. The views expressed during these episodes will be supported by factual statements or documentation or video presentation. The views expressed here will be in the form of questions from time to time and will always provide information with the intent for the viewers to use critical thinking, but ultimately to do further research and form their own conclusions on the subject matter of each of the 5K1 series episodes.
So, for you to use reasonable thinking and judgment and stuff, we're not here to slander any people. Just so you can get the information and do your own homework, because there's a lot of people in these YouTube streets that don't like to do research or your own homework on stuff. You just go hatch your head in the ground like an ostrich, and you're afraid of what's going on in the streets, like most people do in their houses today with something going on in the streets. I was raised in the streets, never had my head from what's going on in the streets.
For those of you who are unaware of what the term 5K1 stands for, I will give you all some definitions I gathered doing some basic research on what a 5K1 recipient is. A 5K or 5K motion in the federal system is a motion filed under Section 5K1.1 of the United States Sentencing Guidelines, requesting a sentence below the guidelines based on substantial assistance by the defendant.
Now, if you're from the South, you'd have heard Brad Jordan, aka Scarface, talk about 5K1 skunk killers, because 5K1 people are really skunks. They're not men, they're not women, they're skunks. But you know what happened with a skunk? You pass one on the road and it's unalive. That's the term I would like to use. It's unalive. It stinks. So let's get this part out the way.
In the federal system, one way to benefit from a cooperation agreement is through a motion under Section 5K1.1 of the United States Sentencing Guidelines.
So it's a motion. And how do you get this motion? Or how do this motion come across? Right? We got to go deeper into my research or my writings or this information.
The United States Code are laws approved by Congress and codified into law under the short-term USC 18 U.S. Code Section 3553, subsection E, limited authority to impose a sentence below a statutory minimum. Upon motion of the government, the court shall have the authority to impose a sentence below a level established by statute as a minimum sentence, so as to reflect a defendant's substantial assistance in the investigation or prosecution of another person who has committed an offense. Such sentence shall be imposed in accordance with the guidelines and policy statements issued by the Sentencing Commission pursuant to Section 994 of Title 28, the United States Code.
So if you're a criminal or not a criminal, understand one thing you must know. It's law. And I'm not a criminal, but I know law because they have put false charges against me in the state of Illinois, and I had to go up there, beat up the state of Illinois, and beat up those that was giving false charges against me. It's called a strategic lawsuit against public participation. And like I would always like to say, I'm the first to do that on YouTube in these streets. I'm the first to bring an episode like this to these streets. I am the YouTube king of the streets. So let's get this paper back up and let the king do what the king do.
Now that the formalities are all out of the way, welcome, you have now entered the world of the YouTube Street Knowledge. The series titled the 5K1 series is the Israel Doctrine Entertainment LLC official launch with today's episode titled A King's View of a Nationally Known Federal Informant in Hip Hop.
Yes, because it's a lot of national, international, and other federal agents in the hip hop game. Don't think you make it to the top of hip hop and the government don't have a bull pending in your nose to control you. They give you a lot of money and stuff because you have became a house nigga. And they need you to control the street nigga. And the street nigga want to be the house nigga, so he gives in and becomes a 5K1 person. Because we can't trust our brothers nowadays. Nobody lives by the Bible, this and that. And no honor amongst these.
Before we get started with the star of today's episode, who I will be discussing in depth, I want to speak briefly on the recent September 25th, 2025, federal grand jury indictment of the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, James B. Comey.
Woo! As I told you, I've been working, people. When I get quiet, it's a reason. That's why I don't stay off YouTube. They be coming to park trying to take my life away.
I bring to light the recent indictment of the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation to highlight to the viewers of this 5K1 episode that I believe we are living in unprecedented times in the world, and being here in North America, much has been going on in current events involving the politicization and the weaponization of the federal government of the United States and its agencies.
Because y'all can't get your food stamps and they need something. It's a lot of stuff gonna go on in these streets, and y'all ain't ready for it.
The politicization of the feuds between former Presidents Barack Hussein Obama, Joseph R. Biden with the current President of the United States Donald J. Trump since 2016, and the recent indictment of James B. Comey, the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2025, makes this 5K1 series I created for hip-hop and these YouTube streets more current than ever.
Did y'all hear that? More current than ever. We in unprecedented times. Most people will call it a new world order.
The corruption of the Federal Bureau of Investigation under previous administrations is a pivotal point to make, as the star of this 5K1 series is a nationally known federal informant that calls himself having a beef online with me on whether or not he breached his duty to report cybercrimes that he has witnessed repeatedly and participated in directly.
So, that shit happened again.
The corruption of the Federal Bureau of Investigation under previous administrations is a pivotal point to make, as the star of this 5K1 series is a nationally known federal informant that calls himself having a beef online with me on whether or not he breached his duty to report cybercrimes that he has witnessed repeatedly and participated in directly.
So it said breach his duties to report cybercrimes. He called himself a journalist, seen people breach the news media lie. It started on the 16th. not the 13th, for us the year 2013, 2016. When did the official report that Africa Bambaataa was molesting children come out? 2013 or 2016? I know because I've been dealing with it since 2017, trying to fix the narrative about what was going on out here in these YouTube streets. I fixed it and people hated it because they was investigated in, I used the wrong term. They was invested in it more than me. Because I'm in Arkansas and I ain't got a bunch of money. I'm just a wannabe rapper that was interested in hip hop in the conscious community. When they brought it to the conscious community and say, help, help, this is what they're doing in hip hop. This is what they're doing in the community. And like a fool, because I'm a righteous man, I got involved. Ignorantly, I got involved. And when I got involved, the people that normally was already involved said, nah, this nigga can't get involved. He turned up the heat. We got to get him out of here. And everybody from the Amin Ra squad all the way to you know who plotted against me. They plotted against me, people. I ain't crying. I'm just doing what I got to do as a man. I ain't bitching, moaning, or none of that. I'm telling my story, and I'm going to get my story out. Whether one person listen, 2 or 1,000, or everybody get behind me, and we mob.
Now I want everybody in the YouTube streets to think about this. Israel Doctrine Entertainment LLC is a hip-hop and Bible-based entertainment company. What could be more entertaining than a content creator having a nationally known federal informant have online beef and go back and forth about the godfather of hip? With the current online trends in hip-hop, with online disputes between the likes of hip-hop artists like Cameron and former hip-hop CEO Damon Dash, and with people like the rapper aka HSHI69 having been a federal witness in a racketeering case and crossing with the likes of content creators like Hassan, Poppy, Campbell. Make no mistake, the back and forth between Israel Doctrine LLC and the nationally known federal witness protection recipient Khalil Amani should have views in the millions, if not hundreds of millions.
When I told you YouTube owed me millions, and the only reason I ain't getting them millions is because I'm not a Charleston White. They wouldn't found that guy been snitching and doing what he been doing for years. They said we got to find somebody to replace Carl Albert Davis, because that little Arkansas dude, he a mother. You know what? Shut your mouth. He a mother. He on YouTube. He's killing stuff. We need somebody similar to him that would do things beyond him. And they went and found the Texas guy, Charleston White. They found some other people and they put them out here. They start flooding these YouTube streets with my type of clones, with people that do or talk similar to me. The ones is righteous, theirs is unrighteous. But we ain't gonna talk about it. Because like I said, I'm not a man. I ain't crying about it. I just got super active. Just because you ain't seen it, don't mean I ain't active. You will see it in the future.
Why does the videos on this channel not break over 100 views when I have a nationally known informant that has been chasing and stalking behind me over years, saying he has online beef with me? Yes, people, this proves that my channel is being attacked systematically by a concert of individuals, and this includes the content Khalil Amani makes attacking this platform. Khalil Amani brags and boasts of his being known.
Let's stop it right there. Yes, people, this platform, as well as Israel Doctrine Reloaded, which was a 1 million view channel. 1 million people viewed that channel, though it had like 3,000 subscribers. Everybody and their mothers was watching it because that's why I was murdering the character that they brought out here, his son character. I was murdering his character, showing that he was not a victim, but a willing participant. Because anybody in a mama that will say this is a willing participant.
After Bam got out of the hospital to figure out what really happened, and he gave me the picture of a light-skinned Puerto Rican little boy that looked just like me as a kid. And he gave me that picture because I was going to be the one who killed that boy for Africa Bambaataa.
He was going to be the one to kill that boy for Africa Bambaataa. Layla Wills heard this. Khalil Amani heard this. Star Troy Terrain heard this. Marcy Hamilton possibly didn't heard this. Everybody and their mama heard this. As Leak you once said, everybody didn't heard it. Because like I said, it was a million people that used to watch Israel Doctrine Reloaded before DJ K. Slay and the rest of the conglomerate came together and destroyed that channel. Oh, this is some highly upscale stuff for someone that was born under the Fred Hampton somewhat regime. See, I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I wasn't born in Compton or in California and all that place in LA and stuff. Well, they really started in the Bay, where the Panthers from, California. But the branch in Chicago, I was born under who the FBI feared the most, Fred Hampton. Though I don't claim to be a Fred Hampton, I'm just saying. Their fear of another one rising up is so very true. And the way I've been acting for years, they have seen me rising in social media. They've been watching me for a while, which they've been watching me since my birth. Because before I was born, my brother was in the military, and he had to sign military papers saying where his family members was and everything else, because they was giving them information that if he opened his mouth, they'll be visiting.
Khalil Amani brags and boasts of his being known for being on nationally syndicated television and having articles written in the top publications, but as he calls himself, beefing with me back and forth over the events surrounding the godfather of hip-hop, me and him cannot break the algorithm. Think people about what I am putting down here, about how these people who are working tooth and nail to keep secrets from the mass viewing audiences, as they think they are countering my intelligence and trying to stronghold my channel and its content, while they figure out a way to harm and get rid of me all so they can keep government corruption and racketeering with Hassan, Poppy Campbell and the Universal Zulu Nation's security detail rolling.
They're getting money. They've been making money for like 8 years or so. See, the thing with it is, though, I'm a capitalist. They're socialists. People that's in their society, they make sure get money. This capitalist that does all this stuff for capital, they won't let them get no money. I'm telling you, this wicked system, people.
This 5K1 series will unravel for the viewing audience what I believe to be a domestic terrorist operation online and backed by the United States government. When I say government-backed, I am saying what has been going on in hip-hop and in these YouTube streets involve confidential informants and known informants like Khalil Amani, who are handled by government agencies that have been corrupted by politicization and weaponization against certain YouTube content creators who have conservative viewpoints.
Conservative. I figure all black people is conservative, but with this social media and stuff, they didn't affect y'all mind. It's called being in the matrix. You eating food, but it ain't food. It tastes like it.
This platform that on the surface looks like a smaller YouTube channel has been false flagged by some of the biggest and most influential figures in hip-hop, and just to name a few, the now deceased New York DJ K. Slay and Star Troy Terrain have false flagged my channels over the course of my disputes with Khalil Amani, the informant who took down the Miami Hebrew Israelite cult leader Yahya Ben Yahya.
Yes, I'm somebody. I'm him. I'm actually him. If y'all know what I'm saying, if y'all can feel the vibe, I'm him.
I am totally aware of the inner workings of YouTube and that certain organizations with ties and affiliations to people like Star are directly in communications with executives at YouTube, the likes of Liar Cohen, global head of music for Google and its subsidiary YouTube.
Mm. A little small boy from Parkin, Arkansas. Shook up the world.
I myself wrote Alphabet Incorporated, which is the parent company for Google, to inform them of the false flags to my channels, and at one point I was given all my channels that were wrongfully terminated back.
Yes, see, they weren't going after one channel, they went after all of them. I had like 7 channels, they took them all. Israel Doctrine Reloaded was one of them. When they gave them back, they say, we can't go after them all. Let's go after this one channel that's getting all the views and where he's doing the biggest part of what he's doing. Because they didn't have StreamYard. So see, they could take one of these channels or 2 of these channels. But it's a channel that's linked to this one that's not linked to the Israel Doctrine Gmail. I found out that they was doing it because all the other channels were somewhat linked to the Israel Doctrine Gmail. But truly, this one and Carl Labert, Israel Doctrine MCEO, it's the only 2 that's really hooked up to the Gmail, Israel Doctrine. The rest of them just was affiliated with the main channel. See, it's a dirty game, y'all. I was feeling like Tupac for real.
Another way they have shadow banned this channel's content to cover up the back and forth between Khalil Amani and me is to send flash mobs of people online to false flag my channel and remove it from the algorithms.
I ain't know that's how you could do it too. So you got to learn the game before you can play the game.
I learned about the practices of using flag mobs to attack certain content creators' channels watching Star Troy Torrain some years back, and I believes that his snitch network in alignment with Hassan Poppy Campbell and Khalil Amani Layla Wills and the estate of Keith Grayson, the now deceased DJ K. Slade, has no doubt sent flash mobs to come and false flag my videos so that it looks like my channel and Khalil Amani is a small, dead, and stagnant channel.
Flash mob. That's all right. YouTube Street Mob is here now. Next year, we YouTube Street Mobbing.
They as in Khalil Amani, Layla Wills, and DJ K. Slay with supporters of Star Troy Torrain and many others have made sure to directly and indirectly false flag and have my Israel Doctrine Reloaded channel wrongfully terminated because that channel had broken over 1 million views and that channel has not been returned, which is something that is sure to have heavy legal ramifications in the near future. The Israel Doctrine Entertainment platform with my affiliate has become a forecasting network akin to a meteorologist forecasting the weather, as this platform tends to fuse end-time Bible prophesy discussions with modern trends and hip-hop under the acronym I created for the term when used on this platform, which is hip-hop. Here Israel people half-open prophesies. I will get more into the indictment of James B. Comey, the current president Donald J. Trump, and the weaponization of the federal government against certain political opponents a little later in this episode.
Yes, people. Yes, people. So one thing I would like to share right now, just to break the rhythm of what's going on, is a video. So give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. Let's see this.
I'm the template. I'm the template.
I'm the template. I'm the template. Y'all hear it? That is Khalil Amani. If you didn't know the voice, hear the voice and see the face of my YouTube stalker. Matter of fact, I got to do something to make sure y'all can see it. There we go. Now y'all can see it.
I'm the template. I'm the template on how to bring down Bambaataa. You hear me, nigga? I'm the fucking template on how to go to the government and bring down a motherfucker. I can help you write your books and write your life story. I can help you tell your story. I can help you get on national TV. Khalil Amani been on six national TV shows. People magazine telling my story while you're stuck in the hellhole of what they call YouTube.
So as you can see, he's talking to his son Camel there because what he wanted to do, he wanted to be a handler of his son Camel. That's why Wack 100 and Tekashi 69 was employed to go deal with her son Camel, which is federal informants too, allegedly. I was speaking about that before Charleston White, but Charleston White took my mental knowledge and started using it.
Stick around and hear this full episode because, as always with Israel Doctrine Entertainment LLC's series, this episode is going to deep dive into the topic of the federal informants, some being confidential human sources in hip-hop, and the role the United States and foreign governments have played in the manipulation of the culture. The star of today's 5K1 series episode is the nationally known federal witness who participated in 1980s in the federal prosecution of Miami-based religious cult leader Yahya Ben Yahya, none other than Khalil Amani, formerly Khalil Ashanti, and the birth name that his father and mother gave him, Lloyd Rodney Clark.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel called Lord Rodney Clark, Israel Doctrine, what I had to use to fight my online stalker in his conglomerate.
I want to make this clear to the viewers that Khalil Amani in his various national television appearances and in his published memoirs on his life in the Federal Witness Protection Program maintains that as a confidential human source for the Federal Bureau of Investigation and in the custody of the United States Marshal Service, who is performing his civic duty in the prosecution of what was said to be a murderous cult in Miami, Florida, whose leader Yahya Ben Yahya was also in child sex trafficking of minors. I want you all to know Khalil Amani's position so that when I give you mine there is no discrepancies as to why I ask the questions I will ask or why I challenge some of the many statements he has made over the years out in these YouTube streets. To clarify, Khalil Amani is the star of today's episode for one reason only, and that is to utilize what I know about him to bridge future episodes that will speak on individuals who may not be actual state or federal informants but that interacted with Khalil Amani, making their status questionable in the hip-hop culture and out in these YouTube streets.
Mm-hmm. Degrees of separation.
Various of my online affiliate and I have been the subject of cyber stalking by Khalil Amani for a time frame of about 6 going on 7 years now. When you are cyber stalked to the degree that Khalil Amani has stalked me, you learn a whole lot about the person. You have to look over your shoulder so frequently to ask to please stop stalking my YouTube channel. Khalil Amani is not my first cyber stalker online. In fact, Khalil Amani got into an online dispute with a previous cyber stalker of mine's.
Yes, Michael Edwards. He put him in an article on his blog site. And I was like, man, why did you put him in the article? He tried to, he was scared of him, and I wasn't scared of him. I ran him offline. Khalil Money didn't run him offline. But he said that's how me and Michael started. I was ready to go all day, but he left offline. He left offline because of me, because he was like, y'all don't know that guy. Y'all keep messing with him. That guy ain't nothing to play with. I've been stalking him for 10 years myself and know that he ain't nothing to play with. Why you think we went 10 years? Because he ain't gonna stop.
I had one former cyber stalker of my platforms get into a conflict online with Khalil Amani, and then that cyber stalker got offline, and Khalil Amani would then later become my new cyber stalker for 6 going on 7 years now. When I say you tend to learn a whole lot about a person after they stalk you for such a long period of time, as in Khalil Amani stalking me in the YouTube streets, I can personally say I have a lot of knowledge and foreknowledge on the character that I nicknamed Shitty Blood for his direct ties to California Pure Blood affiliate and hip-hop manager Whack 100.
Yes, he's affiliated with Whack 100 through DJ K Slay because he worked for Straight Stunning. And Straight Stunning had an East Coast and West Coast operation. DJ K Slay East, Whack 100 West. This is also street news. See, it's hip hop, but it's also street news. Because your man that was moving that weight and this, that, and everything, he got caught up and got locked up through DJ K Slay or Whack 100, who affiliated with a federal informant. You just go, aha, that's how it happened. Now you put 1 and 2 together and you start piecing up some of them crimes that happened earlier in hip hop that you didn't know nothing about because you didn't know about these federal informants and how they was linked to street cats that was doing stuff in the hip hop industry. Waha. I know how it hit. It hit me hard when I realized it. I said, oh shit. Oh shit, this is deep. This is deep.
If you asked Khalil Amani if it is true about whether he has been cyber stalking my affiliate and me for 6 going on 7 years, he would most likely lie or to try to project and gaslight the claim that it is that has been stalking him. To prove that I cannot possibly be the culprit of stalking Khalil Amani, I must inform you the viewers that Khalil Amani's current YouTube channel is his 3rd or 4th channel on YouTube after having channel after channel terminated for real breaches of YouTube community guidelines.
Yes, because he was trying to go after me and my affiliates, and my affiliate, the Queen, was taking his channels out. He wanted to say Towards Star Terrain was taking his channels out. However, I ain't had nothing to do with it. I didn't ask the Queen to do it. He was personally attacking her and her children. She felt like terminating his channels.
Khalil Amani first had his channel terminated by YouTube for comments he made about another YouTube content creator. The comments Khalil Amani made which got one of his former channels terminated was for his falsely alleging that he was going to make slanderous videos about another male content creator. Khalil Amani, a nationally known federal informant, was terminated by YouTube for his falsely alleging that he and the other male content creator had gay sexual relations.
Yeah, he said he was going downtown. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going down.
After being banned and cancelled on YouTube for his attack on another content creator, Khalil Amani would then return with a new channel on YouTube, making video after video and posting on his community wall about me and my affiliate and just about every topic I speak on.
Stalking. Perpetual stalking.
Whether I speak on Bible commentary or have guests on my platform, and whether the content is about Khalil Amani or other content, he is making videos behind just about my every word, trying to harm my affiliate and my businesses. Khalil Amani would again have another channel terminated by YouTube for more breaches of YouTube community guidelines, and again make yet another channel and do more cyber stalking of my platforms and claim he is critiquing my commentary.
Critiquing me. You know, this stuff is very worrisome. When you on YouTube and you just trying to talk about what it's a super fan. A super fan that want to peep through your window and see what you doing. So they'll know your every move. Super fan. Which is a stalker. Which is dangerous. But I understand this social media game is a media game. But that media game is to control your mind and harm you mentally. And see, one thing Park in Arkansas has done for me is to get me mentally strong to deal with anything in the world. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Seeing a dead body, seeing this, seeing that. Woo. I come out of Cabrini Greenhouse and Projects in Park in Arkansas. Meaning I've seen a lot of stuff in both of them.
Khalil Amani false flagged my now wrongfully terminated Israel Doctrine Reloaded channel. The false flag was done in concert by Khalil Amani with his Chicago-based affiliate journalist Layla Wills of Trapped in a Culture and the First Gay Family documentaries, and the now deceased legendary DJ K. Slay of New York's Hot 97 radio station, Shady 45, and founder of Hip Hop's Straight Stuntin' magazine. I can say my channel was terminated wrongfully by YouTube and that it was due to false flags by Khalil Amani, Layla Wills, and DJ K. Slay. I can also say that it was wrongful terminated based on the strikes on my channel being for copyrights that was not properly verified by YouTube via the individuals claiming the infringement. No proof of copyrights was ever presented validating the strikes that lead to my channel being terminated by YouTube.
Yes, because during this time I've been putting up pictures of people and stuff and seeing if they would send me the copyright to it. The only person that ever did it was Troy Star Terrain. I still didn't take it down. Wait, that's my picture. I got the copyright this and that. I said F-U-C-K him and did what I wanted to do. And he punked the you know what down and left me alone. Not truly because he kept false flagging, but he had a right to flag that, take me to court and everything. You think he pressed the issue with me? No, because I'm a bold little country boy.
Khalil Amani and Layla Wills once got all of my YouTube channels terminated with false flags before they had my Israel Doctrine Reloaded channel terminated, and YouTube gave me all of my channels back after realizing the flags were false. After YouTube gave my channels back, I made a report to YouTube that the amount of false strikes made by Layla Wills should have led to the immediate termination of her channels and that of the individuals who made the false strikes in concert with her, including Khalil Amani.
DJ K. Slay, they, you know what, too. Got no respect for him. Y'all may have respect for him, but hey, as far as I'm going to go with it.
I had to make police reports in the state of Arkansas for incidents where Khalil Amani would appear in my chat room after he was terminated from YouTube and make hypothetical death threats, and to protect myself in the event that we ever cross paths offline, I made it clear to put all interested parties on notice. The point I am making as we go deeper into this episode is that Khalil Amani has been an aggressor in these YouTube streets, and as I break it all down, I will explain how I can prove that in a court of law, or in the court of public opinion, and with commentary in these YouTube streets.
Yes, we're finna take another break, another video, something to wet y'all whiskers.
Why does Hassan Poppy Campbell call Khalil Amani a snitch?
Y'all see that? Let's go back a little bit. Camille money, store robber, drug mule.
A snitch and a rat? Well, those of you who know my backstory know that 40 years ago, I was in the Yahweh cult in Miami, Florida. And you know that the cult and the leader, Yahweh ben Yahweh, was a bad man. He was a Malachi York and then some.
That's it, people. That was our break. But we'll get back to the report now. Remember, this is part 1 of 2. There's a lot of stuff here. I had to break it up, people.
I have written various local, state, and federal agencies about actions done online by Khalil Amani and his affiliates to secure that whenever I decide to tell my story, I am within my legal right to speak.
So, his affiliates is Hip Hop Stands with Survivors. All the Europeans that's a part of that group that Layla Wills and got outside of this African American community to join her in this thing. Yes, y'all are part of this too. Yes, y'all went up there and stood in New York City with her and everything else. Yes. Y'all are part of this too. Welcome to hip hop. Keep standing with survivors that was well informed of what BAM was doing and participating in what BAM was doing. They survived, but how did they survive?
If I am ever hauled into a court of law again like what was done to me by Layla Wills by Khalil Amani or any affiliate associated with them after Layla Wills lied to Chicago Police Department and had me falsely arrested, false claiming I was online with illegal guns, I will bring the evidence to prove my case and get discovery to support my counterclaims. If you are new listeners to this platform, you may need a more proper background on how I came to know Khalil Amani in these YouTube streets. Khalil Amani and I formed a mutual relationship around the year 2017, and a relationship that then went sour after I was civilly sued in a strategic lawsuit against public participation by Layla Wills for commentary I was putting out on this platform about the allegations of sexual abuse of minors against the godfather of hip-hop Afrika Bambaataa aka Lance Taylor aka Kevin Donovan, and the cover-up of the abuse by members of the Universal Zulu Nation. In 2017, I was responsible for the rediscovering of Hassan Poppy Campbell following a YouTube interview in 2017 on the channel that was terminated wrongfully, Israel Doctrine Reloaded.
Now, as y'all can see, I've been a part of this thing, but they never wanted me to be a part of this thing. You don't hear me being talked about. Layla Wills will not open her mouth against me at all, because if she do, and we go to court, and I bring that court case that she threw out, and why did she throw it out, and everything up, she know. It's like a snap of a finger starting a fire. I set on fire. She can't argue with me. She can't debate with me. She can't do nothing with me but pay me back for what she done to me and tried to destroy me. If she can't pay me back, it's nothing to talk about. And I will be sending that bill one day.
Hassan Poppy Campbell and allegations of his childhood molestation made against Afrika Bambaataa and the cover-ups of the Universal Zulu Nation as it relates to child sex trafficking was a dying story after Hassan Poppy Campbell and Ronald B. Stinger Savage came out in 2016. Following my rediscovery of Hassan Campbell's story 2017, I was able to do research into his allegations as well as Ronald Savage, and in doing that I discovered a cover-up of a potential statutory rape of a minor by Afrika Bambaataa and the Universal Zulu Nation.
See, I was discovering stuff. because I'm a very active person. Good, bad, or whatever I do, I'm active, and I never hide my activity. That's why people been over on my Facebook, stalking my family, getting their pictures, putting them out online and stuff. Well, I talked about them nicely, nigga. You had no right to get on my Facebook and find my family pictures. But my family at fault too, because I was talking about COINTELPRO in 2016, the stalking and profiling of an Israelite male, aka Carl Lambert Davis. My family, they didn't listen. So if they feel like doing something, that's them. Carl feel like doing something. That's me.
The cover-up is where it was alleged that the victim, described as a light-skinned Puerto Rican, Spanish or Latino boy, stabbed Afrika Bambaataa and his manager Ahmed Henderson following a statutory rape of a young teen back in a New York City apartment in the year 2013.
Yes. And his name is out there. Khalil, what's his name? You said he was a homosexual, and him and her son Camel was having a homosexual war over their lover, Bambaataa. So if her son Camel was what you called him, fighting with another one, what you called him, then that would show even more reason to say he was a willing participant in the love triangle. But Layla Wills put up at the Star Witness on her show and you and everything else. She didn't want the 2013 thing to come out, but you spoke about it and you stay speaking about it. But you never said in the sense that I came out in 2013, Layla Wills is lying, this did not happen in 2016. Even Troy Start to Rain came out in 2013. So my narrative will forever reign in hip hop. It was Israel Doctrine claim and story that in 2013 all this SHIT stuff started. And people want to say it did. You and your mama lie.
Hassan Campbell, known to be a member of the Universal Zulu Nation and an employee of its security detail Zulu Warrior Security, alleges that at the time of the stabbing, he was given a photo of a young teenage boy who he said looked just like him as a kid, and that he was going to be the one to kill the boy for Afrika Bambaataa. The statutory rape of the young teen was first reported on April 2, 2013 by a story published online by Khalil Amani at the behest of the now deceased founder of hip-hop's straight stuntin' magazine, DJ K-Slay.
You see that? Who gonna fight against it? Now, anybody that care about hip-hop will state that what I reported, because it's true. They will not go with Layla Wills 2016. This started and all of that. You hear me, Chuck D? You hear me, Rakim? You hear me, all the rest of you niggas that took a picture with that line B, and I ain't gonna say the rest.
This is where I first reached out to Khalil Amani on social media to find out more about the article he had written about Afrika Bambaataa and Ahmed Henderson getting stabbed after a potential sexual assault in 2013. Khalil Amani would later inform me that DJ K-Slay was the person who informed him of the sexual assault of the Latino teen and the stabbing of Afrika Bambaataa and Ahmed Henderson. Khalil Amani later explained that following the incident, DJ K-Slay told him to publish an article titled Afrika Bambaataa, Gay and Date Raping.
This is when they was trying to make Bambaataa a part of the LGBTQ. We'll say it like this, the LGBTQ, now the LGBTQIA plus pedophiles and the male, I can't say it, it's on the tip of my tongue, but we're not going to stum up on words and mess up the video like that. Let's keep going. Y'all know what NEMLA is, right?
When I conducted my first interview with Khalil Amani on the Israel Doctrine Reloaded channel, I was not aware that he was known nationally for being a federal witness that took down Yahya Ben Yahya in the 1980s. At the time of my first interview with Khalil Amani, I only knew him to be the first writer to allege that Afrika Bambaataa had a fetish of sexual encounters with underage teenage boys.
That's all I knew. He came on my channel, told me he was a federal informant, and from that moment on, I knew to watch the nigga. Plenty of videos, audio, and stuff for this cat, because he's a federal informant and he's doing what I knew a federal informant would do. He'll get his, you know what, out here in public and lie and embellish and tell lies on me and stuff. So I need information, words, and different stuff to proclaim my innocence. I got it.
I would find out a lot of things about Khalil Amani that is relative to this episode, including that at the time of the interview he was what he termed as an advocate to the LGBTQ community, and due to his advocacy was a spiritual advisor to the LGBTQ. I would later agree with what was looked at as fringe conspiracy on the adding of the adults who partake in same-gender and underage fornication being added to the community of the LGBTQ, and I was right when it is now called the LGBTQIA+ community.
Plus community. Me and him arguing about that. I brought Cleo Monongo out, spoke to him about it. He wanted to act like he didn't know or comprehend or understand. But do you know that same Million Man March that Bam went to, Cleo Monongo spoke at it? Meaning that Bam and Cleo Monongo was at the Million Man March with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam cats that was in that same hospital when Bam got stabbed at night. But hey, it is what it is, people. It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, that's a lot. We're going to sit here and we're going to endure, though, people. You're going to hear the whole presentation tonight and part 2, which is a lot.
I would find out a lot of things about Khalil Amani that is relative to this episode, including that at the time of the interview he was what he termed as an advocate to the LGBTQ community, and due to his advocacy was a spiritual advisor to the LGBTQ. I would later agree with what was looked at as fringe conspiracy on the adding of the adults who partake in same-gender and underage fornication being added to the community of the LGBTQ, and I was right when it is now called the LGBTQIA+ community. I believe that whether knowingly or unknowingly, when Khalil Amani titled the article about Afrika Bambaataa gay and date raping, with the story involving an underage teen but the title leaving out a term other than just gay, that Khalil Amani as a journalist was effectively placing the plus or pederast in the LGBTQ at the time of 2013 before it was actually the LGBTQIA+.
Great advocacy, Khalil. You're a great spiritual advisor because the LGBTQIA+ community is a cult.
I was shocked initially when I found out that Khalil Amani was known nationally for being a part of Witness Protection Program and informing on Yahya Ben Yahya, as he told me that during my first interview done with him on my Israel Doctrine Reloaded channel I have on YouTube. During my first interview with Khalil Amani, he would also inform me and the audience I had that the reason for his becoming a federal witness against Yahya Ben Yahya was due to the religious cult leader practicing in the sexual molestation of underage girls on the compound Yahya had in Miami, Florida.
So he's been around it. I would dare to say allegedly probably didn't participated in it.
Kalilamani would go further to explain that the brainwashing that took place in the cult involved his wife, who they had a daughter, committing adultery with Yahya ben Yahya. He would go even further and tell in the interview that he feared his underage daughter would be subjected to sexual abuse and the polygyny that took place in the cult. I want to make it clear that over the years, Kalilamani's reason for why he informed on Yahya has been changed or made to be complicated with more than one reason, but based on our fallout, I think that everything Kalilamani says about his informing on Yahya ben Yahya is questionable. I will get to why I say that a little later, but back to how things went when we had a similar goal. I would find out later, after becoming more acquainted with Kalilamani, that DJ K-Slay had told him 6 or 7 years prior to the stabbing of Afrika Bambaataa that he was aware that the godfather of hip-hop had a fetish for sexual encounters with underage boys. How did DJ K-Slay, years before the incident of the stabbing of Afrika Bambaataa and Ahmed Henderson, know that Afrika Bambaataa liked to have sex with underage boys, but yet not report the crimes of minor abuse to the authorities?
Could we dare say sex trafficking, which we know the Zulu Nation was doing?
Why did DJ K-Slay tell Kalilamani, a nationally known federal informant, years before telling him to publish the article about Afrika Bambaataa sexually assaulting a minor, that Afrika Bambaataa liked to have sex with underage teenage boys? If Kalilamani knew years before the incident that occurred on April 1st, 2013, of Afrika Bambaataa sleeping with underage teenage boys, did him and DJ K-Slay not inform the local, state, or federal authorities the night Afrika Bambaataa got stabbed with his manager Ahmed Henderson in what they allege was a New Rochelle apartment in New York State? The answer to some of those questions that I am about to give may shock some of the lovers of hip-hop and have respect and admiration for the deceased DJ K-Slay. Before I give the answer, I have to speak on how Kalilamani, after becoming acquainted with me and my movement to find the whereabouts of the teen they said was a boy at the time who stabbed Afrika Bambaataa, got an interview with Colorado-based private investigator Ed Upperman of the Ed Upperman Report podcast. I, at the time of 2017 and 2018, was getting well known in the YouTube streets, my platform popularized, and I was the first to go on the Ed Upperman Report. Kalilamani, who is now publishing articles about my investigative journalism and my piecing him back as the first writer to publish claims on Afrika Bambaataa, was even calling me the gatekeeper to the Afrika Bambaataa shit you shun, and now in a war of words with star Troy Torain on who was the first to break the story.
Now we're getting into some good part, but we got another little piece to go. Y'all see me strolling down. It's a lot, y'all. Remember, I got to remember this stuff because I had a stroke. But when I woke up from my stroke, I remember who I'm being called out. And we got beef.
In 2018, I was the one who placed Kalilamani in his rightful position above star Troy Torain, and not knowing that this would later bite me when Kalilamani would flip as a hostile witness and join forces against my movement with star Troy Torain and Layla Wills. After interviewing with Ed Upperman, I would get Kalilamani an interview on the Ed Upperman Report to discuss his cult story, and also an interview to discuss his role in the Afrika Bambaataa allegations of sexual assault against minors. During the interview about Afrika Bambaataa, Kalilamani would shock me and the listeners when he made the statement that DJ K-Slay used to go get the teenage boys for Afrika Bambaataa to molest. Kalilamani, after the statement, would try to correct that it was the Universal Zulu Nation that would get the boys and not DJ K-Slay directly, because back at that time DJ K-Slay was a team member under adult supervision of the Universal Zulu Nation and New York City Black Spades Gang.
Yeah, so he basically said he was a child trafficker. but he was a child trafficking children. So
Whether directly or indirectly, the phrase, "we," as in the universal Zulu nation used to go get the boys for Afrika Bambaataa, was used to describe what Khalil Imani told Ed Opperman and his viewers that DJ K-Slay told him. Now remember, Khalil Imani told the world that he was informed by DJ K-Slay 6 or 7 years before the stabbing incident had occurred in 2013 that Afrika Bambaataa had a fetish for underage boys.
that's how he knew. He used to go get them for Bam.
The statement given to Ed Opperman was the only plausible explanation as to how DJ K-Slay would know Afrika Bambaataa sexual relations, and furthermore DJ K-Slay, who was a member of the Zulu Nation as a teen, was alleging that the teenage boys in the nation were being used to lure other boys to Afrika Bambaataa for sexual activity. To make this perfectly clear, it was not alleged that DJ K-Slay as a man or a teen ever had direct sexual relations with Afrika Bambaataa, but that as a teenage boy the Zulu Nation, which including DJ K-Slay, would lure the teen boys into the nation, and then they would be aware of the ones who would have sexual relations with Afrika Bambaataa.
Nasty perverts. This is what Khalil Imani is trying to keep covered up.
I have played audio of Khalil Imani reading the definition of what child trafficking is, and he had to admit that based on the definition widely accepted for the term, that DJ K-Slay, albeit a teen at the time, was in fact a part of the "we" that used to get the young teen boys for Afrika Bambaataa, and even if a juvenile at the time, that would no doubt still be child sex trafficking to an adult for the purposes of illegal sexual activity. Early on, when interacting with Khalil Imani on these highly sensitive subjects and seeing the war on YouTube heat up with star Troy Torang, Layla Wills, Hassan, Poppy Campbell, Sonator TV, Tommy Sotomayor, and others, I began to record private phone calls with Khalil Imani for my protection.
Yeah. See, people think I'm ignorant. But see, Khalil even said when he talked to Bam, because Sabir Bey said he would get him an interview, he said he's going to have a recording. He's not going to be like Hassan Camel.
I have various private audio calls in my possession between Khalil Imani and me, even where he told me that he spoke to a direct affiliate of Afrika Bambaataa by the name of Sabir Bey, who literally informed Khalil Imani that Afrika Bambaataa was watching all of our content and went so far as bribe Khalil Imani, if he would stop speaking on Afrika Bambaataa, that he would assist Khalil Imani in a Hollywood movie deal on his Yahya Ben Yahya cult story. Another reason I began to record private conversations with Khalil Imani is much of his cult story and what happened after he left the Yahya cult was beginning to conflict. Much of what was conflicting came out in the YouTube back and forth going on with Khalil Imani and my previous cyber stalker RBG Hebrew.
Michael Evans. Spend time with your stalker. You'll get to know him.
The conflicting statements that came out involved Khalil Imani publishing in his memoir that after leaving the Yahya cult that he would delve into the world of drug trafficking, transporting illegal narcotics from Miami to Washington, D.C. Khalil Imani in his memoir would even say that prior to informing the federal government on Yahya, his life of crime would turn from being a drug mule to armed robbery.
So he been bragging about that. Yeah, I had this bride, and she would go get other brides, and we do threesomes and all that stuff. He was living a glamorous life, being a drug mule, meaning that if them drugs killed somebody, he was a murderer. He was a murderer, a drug mule, and a robber of establishments. But he tried to say, I was just a citizen. I ain't do no crime. I ain't do nothing wrong. I ain't have no reason to go tell on y'all way. Your story don't add up, buddy. It sound good. Even poor surprise people will sit up and write about it, but they'll write a damn lie.
After believing that Khalil Amanai's story was one of a stand-up law-abiding citizen caught in a bad cult situation and then doing his civic duty to inform on a murderer and a child molester, I now saw Khalil Amanai's story entirely different. Though I am a law-abiding citizen, I am aware of street compensatory code, and it goes that if a man is doing criminal activity and then turns to inform on another man's crimes, he does not get to turn around and claim upstanding citizen.
Hell no. What them boys used to say in that song, oh no, hell no. To the no. We're gonna quote the blues singer.
Khalil Amani left a murderer's cult and then decided to deal death up and down the East Coast, trafficking narcotics and even robbing establishments at gunpoint, and now wants the world to not see that as him too being a criminal that then went and informed on his cult leader. I have made countless response videos to Khalil Amanai's stalking of my platform to let it be known that once he went and informed the federal government on Yahya Ben Yahya after leaving that man's cult but selling drugs and doing criminal activities, that he is nothing but what the streets call a snitch and a rat for being a criminal himself.
Man, a criminal himself is being a drug mule, a criminal activity. Yes. Robbing stores, a criminal activity. Yes. Does that make you a 5K1 recipient? 9 out of 10.
Khalil Amani was said to be present just prior to the murder of a man by Yahya Ben Yahya, and as a member, if he did not inform on Yahya at some point, he could be seen as an accomplice. No matter how one looks at it, the sheer fact that Khalil Amani left the cult and was unclean and then decided to later inform, he is nothing but a tattletale, and when you look at how much he told on DJ K-Slay and countless others, he is questionable in the very least for being a career informant.
A career informant. Not just for the government, but for its own special benefits.
When I call Khalil Amani a career informant, I rely simply on his own memoirs, where he admits that after informing on Yahya Ben Yahya, the United States government contracted him on other undercover operations to take down religious leaders, and that he was on various operations after the fact. Khalil Amani sits up claiming ties in the current to the United States Marshal Service, but yet wanted me to believe that telling the truth on Hassan Poppy Campbell and an international child sex trafficking ring was something he would not do under the fear of being what he calls erased by the United States government.
Or being called a snitch because he would have had to tell the story that he told it.
Anybody with half of a brain knows the Universal Zulu Nation as a non-governmental organization with missions on 6 of the 7 continents is far bigger than Miami-based Yahya cult in sheer size, let alone the amount of murders that occurred to cover up 40 years of child sex trafficking, and that includes the death of TC Islam, who was said to be fleeing Universal Zulu Nation when he was murdered in Atlanta after speaking to Hassan Poppy Campbell the night before he lost his life.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody was to analyze the gang affiliations tied to the Universal Zulu Nation and its membership globally, including even members of local, state, and federal law enforcement, and the potential of cover-ups of rackets involving sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and murders over the course of time, it would absolutely dwarf in comparison to the Yahya cult story.
Bigger than Yahweh, son.
Nobody can tell me that a movie about what the Universal Zulu Nation did for over 40 years, all leading to Hassan Poppy Campbell and Ronald Savage, and the hip-hop ties would not outsell any Hebrew Israelite cult movie starring Khalil Amani at the box office. Khalil Amanai's article on Afrika Bambaataa and the ties to hip-hop legendary DJ K-Slay and the godfather of hip-hop, and the ties I have with my What Happened to the Boy movement would destroy the Yahya Ben Yahya story by star power alone, hands down.
Can't do it like me. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Can't do it like me.
Khalil Amani at the time of our early acquaintance would go on to make videos about Hassan Poppy Campbell and Layla Wills being involved in racketeering online and even potential death threats being illegal, even if made hypothetical by Hassan Poppy Campbell, at which he was threatening to kill my chat mods, Sonetter and his wife and children, and me for asking what he did to the underage boy Afrika Bambatawa ordered him and other Zulu warriors to kill. The beginning of the end of my alliance with Khalil Amani occurred when I asked him to go to the federal government and inform on what Hassan Poppy Campbell was doing online. When asking Khalil Amani to go to his federal handlers and inform on what he was claiming in his videos about Hassan Poppy Campbell, Khalil Amani snapped on me in his response. In his response, Khalil Amani would make what I saw as excuses about me not knowing the depths of federal witness protection, and that if he informed of the crimes, the government would literally erase him. Khalil Amani would also try to downplay the power of Universal Zulu Nation and Hassan Poppy Campbell, and claim that he was not in fear for his life, and that Yahya Ben Yahya and his cult was far more deadly, and that if I feared for my life, that I should go to the nearest FBI field office.
Yes, he told me to become the next Khalil Amani. Carl Albert Davis ain't no fool. I'm foolish, but I ain't that type of fool.
After the response given to me by Khalil Amani relating to reporting on Hassan Poppy Campbell, I really started to question his motives, as he lied about the fact that when he wrote the article in 2013 that DJ K-Slay warned him to take the article down because Universal Zulu Nation had a chapter of its organization right in Denver, Colorado, where Khalil Amani lived at that time. Khalil Amani attempting to downplay the Universal Zulu Nation by claiming the Yahya cult was far worse was literally, albeit weak, counterintelligence play to make me think his expertise in the knowledge of the federal government was far superior to my being able to critical think the situation.
Critical thing. A calculated risk taker. I'm a risk taker, but I calculate them. Something I learned back in the days from one of my old YouTube buddies.
After Khalil Amani declined to me on him going to the federal government to inform on Hassan Poppy Campbell and the continued death threats on adults and minor children, I decided to contact the Federal Bureau of Investigation live on YouTube myself. Make no mistake about it, when I called the FBI live on YouTube and informed on Hassan Poppy Campbell about his threats made and the potential of a conspiracy to murder victims of Afrika Bambatawa, I believe this is when Khalil Amani was setting up his grand exit to join Star Troy Torain, Layla Wills, and Hassan Poppy Campbell. Shortly after my call to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for all to see is when this story gets really interesting, because after that is when Layla Wills decided to place the strategic lawsuit on public participation and then have Khalil Amani join her and start attacking me.
Yep.
Now if you all are entertained, are you not entertained? Well, if you are, then you do not want to miss 5K1 series official launch, A King's View of a Nationally Known Federal Informant in Hip Hop Part 2 of 2, where we will continue to dissect the nationally known federal witness under the protection of the U.S. Marshal Service, Khalil Amani. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification, become a member, be the first to hear the greatest perspectives from the king of these YouTube streets.
YouTube Street Mob, we out.